And even if it is the same material, I think that you position it a little differently based on the audience. You might weight things different in your keynote for different audiences, you know? And so when I work with presenters or keynoters and they don't take the time to ask the right questions about the audience, then I start to get nervous for them, because the thing that great presenters do that other people don't do is connect with the audience.
Absolutely.
And you can't connect with people that you don't know. I think that people that don't present a lot in particular feel that there's just this kind of mode that they're supposed to be in, and they get very stiff. And I think audiences want to know who you are. They want to learn about you. And so it's okay if you're not a vivacious personality. You know, we all think that presenters have to have this larger-than-life personality. They all have to be super funny. And I don't think that's the case. I think that people want to know who you are. And when they feel like they're genuinely connecting with you,
absolutely,
they receive the information that you're delivering a lot more easily. Let me tell you where Penguins comes from. When I was studying acting, when I was a young actor, I was performing something, and I had a coach say to me, "Jane, do you realize that when you emote, you have a horrible tendency that your hands come down to your side and your arms come out, and you stand forward and you look like a penguin?" I mean, you know, and I said, "No, I had no idea." And this goes back to your idea of being videotaped. Now, I prefer to not videotape people until after we've done some work together, because videotaping also puts the focus right back on you, right?
Yes, good point.
But I think it's important for people to have a person to rehearse with who can help them to identify what their penguins are. And sometimes it is that you lean into one hip in kind of a funky way, or you pace back and forth, or you fondle the PowerPoint clicker in a way that's, you know, really distracting to the
yes.
audience, or you play with your hair, or whatever it is. We all have these things that just kind of we don't do normally, but when we get nervous or when we're in front of people, they kind of pop out. People do not want to connect with a PowerPoint deck. They want to connect with you. And one of the first things I do with anybody that I coach when we go through the rehearsal process is cut as many slides out of the PowerPoint as we possibly can. Because every time you do this and refer to a PowerPoint slide, you break that connection that the audience could have with you. And that's really the point of great presenting. And a soliloquy, if you remember Hamlet,
yes,
to be or not to be, Hamlet is talking to himself. The audience just gets to kind of listen to him and understand what's going on in his mind. A monologue is a scene between two people where one person is just has a lot of dialogue. But really they're engaging with another person.
Right.
Most people that present do a soliloquy. They are just talking. They're just spewing facts and data, and you just get the opportunity to listen in on them. Great presenters use the opportunity to keynote as a monologue, right? To connect with the audience. And I think that we're so focused on the facts and data that we want to present to people that we forget that part of connecting. Don't try to fly by the seat of your pants. Please, please prepare. You owe it to your audience to prepare.
Absolutely.
You know,
I think
they are
right.
spending their valuable time sitting there listening to you, and you owe it to them to be prepared. Get to know them before you ever go there, so that you know that what you're delivering to them is relevant to them. Be a connector. Be a person that, I mean, when you rehearse by yourself, that's when you're totally focused on Jane. It's all about Jane, standing up, you know, rehearsing the whole presentation. But once you get there with that audience, your focus really needs to be out there connecting with them. I think the two places that people forget the most are the introduction and the ending. And the intro is the very first time they get to see you.
Right.
It's very important.
And you're making that initial connection. It's like that's your first impression that you're making with your audience.
And then your closing is really the impression that you're leaving with them.
True.
And a lot of times people get done with their information and they go, "All right, well,
thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for having me."
It's great to be
here.
here.
And it's such a disappointment at the end of maybe a great keynote. So make sure that you rehearse those things. Rehearse your transitions. You know, when we get these when we storyboard, we will see oftentimes that there are specific points. I have my top 3 points that I'm trying to make, and we're great at those 3 points, but we don't rehearse the transition between those points, and that's really key. And finally, I would say rehearse your stories. And people don't put enough stories into their keynotes and presentations. You know, as I said to you before, we're presenting all of these facts and data, and what people connect with is they want to connect with you on an emotional level. So anytime that you can support something that you're saying with a story, it will help them to connect with you because it helps them put themselves in that situation. I always encourage people to have a consistent warm-up that you do. Athletes do it. Actors do it. You know, what is that process that you have 5 minutes before any keynote or 10 minutes before any keynote that I do? I am in a private place in the ladies' room doing my pregame warm-up. And that's the thing that gets me kind of into that place where I'm ready to do a keynote.